It seems apt that it is raining because I feel as though that adds a certain atmosphere and feel to these videos. Whilst you haven't had any videos off me in the last week, I have been recording portions for a reading vlog of Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James, a book that I actually thoroughly enjoyed towards the beginning and then didn't read on Wednesday and Thursday, and by the time it came round to reading it on Thursday night and trying to get through these chapters, I realised that maybe I no longer enjoyed it as much as I thought I was doing. It's not a bad book by any means. You'll get to see more of my thoughts in the video, but I definitely appreciate what it's trying to do, and I thought that it was going to be a book I loved and on my favourite list of the year, but there are certain things that have happened now that have me just baffled. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about my week, because Lord knows that is what you are here for. You want to know, Charlie, what have you been getting on with? What have you been up to, love? The answer's nothing. Nothing. I don't have a life. How many times do I have to tell you? There's nothing going on here. No life, no enjoyment. I have nothing. I am an empty husk of a human being. When the invasion happens, I will be one of the first to go. I will be cannon fodder. I have accepted that that is my place in this world. So, Saturday, well, Friday after we last spoke, work. Saturday, work. Sunday, off work, trying to work on Doris Ahoy. Monday, work. Tuesday, off work, trying to work on Doris Ahoy. Wednesday, work. Thursday, off work. Thursday, usually the writers group happens, but I'm that close to finishing Doris Ahoy. I'm at the 15,000 word point on one story, and I'm thinking, this is it. Here I stand, light of the world, grand, all that shit. Don't even like Michael Jackson. And so I'm currently listening to, well, no, I'm reading and listening to Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb. I'm buddy reading this with my friend Lindsay. She managed to skip ahead from me, and so I thought I'll listen to this whilst I work on the cover, because that's something that I wanted to get sorted, and also it gave me the time to listen. So I did that, and that took me to about 12:15 yesterday once I put it on Goodreads, put it on my website. So, you know, if you want to read it and you'd like to stick it on your Goodreads shelf, it's there for you to do. Want to read, all that jazz. Anyhow, I start writing at 12:30. At this point, I haven't eaten yet on Thursday, and I think, do you know what? Let's just call this a day of intermittent fasting. We've done it before. It's kind of something we like, you know, slowly try and get your body around to being addicted to this sense of hunger and rewarding yourself once you've finished the book. But that doesn't happen because I'm writing and I'm writing, and eventually at the end of the day I finally have more than 2,000 words written on this book, and it is still not finished. This is just the one story. There were only supposed to be 2 stories in this book. That was my plan all along, and I've reached a point now where I was even questioning, and this would mean changing the blurb that I've given you all, just cutting that first story entirely, just because this story is so long. But I want you to experience it, so I'm questioning cutting this last story into 2 and giving you 3 stories in Doris Ahoy. To put it into perspective for you, when I was working on Our Doris, I gave myself a limit of between 4,000 and 5,000 words so that these stories could be read within half an hour. So this story is about, it will end up being about 5 times the size of one story in Our Doris. Nobody would ever be able to read this story aloud because it's about the size of half of one of the bloody books. I mean, let's count that now. How long is that? It's a long time. 2.5 hours it would take you to read allowed one story. It's not happening. It's not happening. I can't actually believe that it's been going on for this long. And also, I had the startling revelation that whilst I've sent them on a cruise, I haven't discussed any of the places on this round the world tour they've been on. So I need to include some of that, which means this book is going to get longer. And it's already going to be 30,000 words. I didn't plan on this. It's basically going to be... oh my lord. And it's supposed to be out in, what, 2 months now? 2 months. I don't know why I did this to myself. Quite honestly. I'm like a glutton for punishment, like some weird writer, sadomasochist type thing over here. Let's just say I'm going for the whole Ali Smith way of writing and it's only going to be finished about 2 weeks before publication. That'll be fun. We need to get this book edited as well. Lord, I think I just hate myself. I think that's the problem. I think that Charlie is his own worst nightmare. Like, I know I don't work well under pressure. The whole effing world knows I don't work well under pressure. I literally took a break from writing after writing Doris Ahoy because I put myself under that much pressure that I thought I was going to have some sort of breakdown. And now I'm over here wanting a book to be finished within the next 2 months because I am stupid. And I never thought I'd be writing this book this long. I wanted to finish it on April the 30th and then have it edited and have it out for you all. Now look where we are. The book just keeps growing and growing. It's like Gremlins, I think. I've never seen the film. What keeps growing? What things grow? Plants. It is like a plant. And it's all my fault for setting it at sea because water, absorption, all that fun stuff. I'm actually getting close to the climactic scene now. I'm praying for concision, praying for brevity, and I don't pray. There ain't a religious bone left in this body. Out of respect for people, I say, oh my lord, instead of mentioning somebody's name in vain. Out of respect for people. But also, you know, there are other things. Oh my giddy aunt. I quite like that one actually. Oh my giddy aunt. And goodness gracious. Things that I've not said in a long time. That grandparents used to say. And the older people in my family used to say, but I think have gone out of fashion. And I want to use them all now. So if Doris Ahoy isn't finished by this Sunday, I think I might just go the tiniest bit mad. No word of a lie. I've spent every spare moment over the last fortnight working on this book and it still isn't finished. I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's taking so long. And it's Steve Donahue mentioned in a recent video of his how some writers go about their story, saying that the character, don't have control over their characters. And I do have control over my characters. This story is planned, and I know each and every beat that needs to happen, but it's just not happened yet. Do you know, I've been sat here this whole time, and I've just realised that there's actually a man in a white van. It's a good job that we have rain, because I've only just realised he's there. Anyway, yeah, this story needs to be done now. I can't cope with it. No. I need to finish this story. And I don't get bored by Doris, and maybe it's because I haven't written the characters for so long. And I'm enjoying myself, and I keep thinking that I will write a really long paragraph and passage and I can come back later and cut it all down to a line. I actually have no idea. No, I do have an idea. Basically, something got included in this book that I didn't think was going to be in this book, but it needed to be addressed once I'd addressed it. And it leads into the final part of this story. And I think my problem was that I kept thinking it needed to be shorter because originally I planned for it to be included at the start of the next Doris book. I nearly gave away the title. And now that it's its own entity, I now have the space to make this story longer and to go further in depth into the relationship of Harold and Doris, because as we know, this book is about them recalibrating and getting back together after everything that went on towards the end of Indisputably Doris. And sometimes I question whether, as a writer, I think more about it because I'm closer to the story than other people are, and I notice things more. And, you know, I've been with these characters now for 9 years, and I feel as though I know what is important to them, and I know what Harold would talk about. Also, there's a little part of me that realises that when people get older, they do tend to ramble more. Look at me, it's been 11 minutes already, and I still haven't talked about anything but Doris. So, I don't know. My biggest worry and my biggest concern is that I've told you all that this book is going to be out, and I'm concerned because I now fear that if I go on too long, if there isn't enough humour, then you lot might switch off and not care for the story. And as I've said before, I don't write for you. I wrote an entire secret book last year because I don't write for you, and it's just that I need this story to be out there. I feel as though, from a creative perspective, until Doris's story is done, I can't move on. And Doris's story should be done with the completion of the next book. And last night I was writing, and there was a tweet where you saw me mention sentimentality on Twitter. And that came about because I was sat there and I was thinking, maybe the end of the next book won't be the end of Doris's story. And I had to tell myself that no, it has to be the end of Doris's story, because not just because I want to move on creatively, but because I fear Doris might have got safe for me as a writer, and I need to prove to myself that I can write more than her story. But the final chapter in Doris's story won't be written until I've finished working on Doris. Ahoy. Also, once again, a lot of you were in the background of my writing this week because I had booktube on whilst I wrote this story. So if you want to know what I've been watching this week and see just whose channels I've been commenting on, they're usually the same because you lot are a bunch of reliable folk, then please go and go over to my liked playlist, basically, because I do like every single video that I watch. I'm that guy. It's the first thing I do when I click on a video, no matter how I feel about it, just so I can say, look, I've watched this. And also because even if I've not got anything to say to the people, I know it's going into that playlist. No, you lot can see it. And maybe you'll find some good creators that way. Also because I want to forget people all of the time and I don't want to upset anyone. Anyway, I think I might have made this white van man uncomfortable for long enough now. So, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go inside. I'm going to make myself a coffee. And why don't you tell me what you've been getting up to this week? What you're working on? If you're a writer, what you're writing? If you're a writer and you're reading, what you're reading? If you're a reader and you're reading, what you're reading? What you're watching on the TV? What are you listening to? Have you got a new radio show? You can mention podcasts to me. Feel free to mention any podcast you listen to. Just note that I don't listen to them myself because that's a bandwagon I've not been able to jump onto yet. And if you want to get through this video quicker, I recommend watching it at double speed, but we're at the end now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.